Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. We're going to start off here on the daily. So what's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday closed out as a massive bullish candle. Not much has changed since Monday's analysis on the daily. However, with this bullish pullback we did feel this imbalance and come into what could be an order block here, right? So possibly within this internal leg now we're in a premium, but we'll see that clearly on the lower time frame, and we are in a possible daily POI. So possible resistance around this area, just even on the daily. Previous daily highs and lows still intact on EU for buy side liquidity, sell side liquidity. However, on DXY, I believe we'll see on a lower time frame we have just about swept through the previous daily low. Now on DXY, we've also done the same bearish pullback, of course, pretty much mitigating this entire imbalance here. We didn't come down to the last candle of the order block. However, we've still possibly mitigated the order block because it is these series of candles here, right? So we'll see if that creates any sort of bullish dollar momentum and any bearish euro momentum. So yesterday, of course, I was looking for shorts and the market just went bullish all day, proving me wrong. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. So on the 4 hour, just going to start off a bit zoomed out just to show the bigger price action. On DXY, like I said yesterday, we had our new sort of bullish high. Now that high did take out this previous high here for some buy side liquidity, and we've had a pullback from there. We had the same bullish pullback here on our inverse on the EU, pulling back bullish back up into this area here. This 4 hour imbalance has been filled. Of course, we had our SMC divergence at this point because we made that high low signaling strength. So we had that SMC divergence, that break of correlation between the pairs showing strength. Obviously it makes sense with buy side liquidity taken here as well, sponsoring that move. So we came back into more of a discount now of this bullish leg here on DXY. Since then, the picture of course gets a bit more confusing analyzing EU because we have our bearish leg. We didn't make that lower low, so we made a higher low. So that's why I've put this text here, possible weak internal high. Now that only applies to EU, of course, because EU is the only one that saved the low. So it meant this high was possibly weak for some sort of deeper pullback, maybe into this area and maybe further down here. However, it's just something I wanted to note because, of course, it doesn't apply to DXY. So we may actually just hold this leg here. But it's just a note that possible higher prices on EU really for that previous weekly high to go. Now we may respect this area. Of course, we've got this 4 hour POI here, which at the moment into today, we've got a lot of bearish price action coming from. We have imbalances below for price to fill and be drawn towards, and ultimately it's with trend to go short. So if I just zoom in just a bit here, you'll see we've slightly spiked through that previous daily low. So we've got sell side liquidity sponsorship already, which means some SMC divergence, which we'll see on the hourly a bit more clearer. And that sell side liquidity seems to be sponsoring a bearish move here and a bullish move on DXY. So what sort of bias is this giving me? Well, apart from this possible weak internal high, we have this POI here that's been mitigated, and we have sell side liquidity sponsorship for today from DXY, and it's with trend. So for me, the bias is leaning towards shorts, right? SMC divergence, some bearish momentum from there. We're currently holding a 4 hour POI, and we've got those draws on price below. Obviously this weak internal high isn't confirmed really until we take the high, so we can still continue bearish, taking out this low, continuing the trend on DXY. That's my opinion on that. So I don't think there's much else to discuss. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see what that shows us. So here on the 1 hour, we can see that SMC divergence slightly clearer, where we spiked through that previous daily low this morning in Asia. I've drawn in the SMC line here. We can see we had this sort of corrective trend line here that has now been mitigated. So we can see the POIs that we entered into yesterday evening. We had this 1 hour order block here, which is within that 4-hour imbalance area. Right, we just slightly spiked into it, but we're still closed within that, and we had a bearish move from there. Now overnight, of course, we pulled back, didn't take the high out, indicating some weakness here on EU because we didn't take the high. Right, we broke that correlation again, and we've moved bearish so far this morning with some momentum. We closed out previous hourly candle as a bearish engulfing. We may run into some possible support here for that short bias, because this is still, of course, an order block with an imbalance. It didn't create a new high, but it's a POI that might create some sort of support. Now we have a lot of bearish momentum here still. We're only 15 minutes into this candle. Once this closes out, this price action above here would be order blocks if we don't fill it, so may provide some sort of resistance to be used later on. So it's not clear cut, the bias and direction, in terms of our 1 hour price action. However, I do believe, given these POIs mitigated, we failed to break that high with the SMC divergence. We may have some support as a roadblock here. Whether it makes price continue or not, we won't know. But I expect to see possible support here that may provide some sort of pullback. Internally in this leg, we are now in more of a premium, so price may be seeking out a discount anyway. DXY has that sell side liquidity sponsorship. At the moment, we're a bit unsynced in terms of where we are in the price action, so we'll have to monitor that closely just to see if there's any negatives there. But we still got quite a lot of bearish momentum here. So far, no obvious supports being shown by this order block, but like I said, we've got over 40 minutes left before this candle closes, and it could look very different when that happens. Either way, I'm still favoring a short bias, but I'll be cautious and be aware of these possible, supports and how the pullback looks, right, and how DXY looks as well. So I'm happy to go with it, and if the market proves us wrong, it proves us wrong. So just to reiterate, this internal leg, we're in more of a premium of it. Price has got a lot of bearish momentum, SMC divergence, sell side liquidity taken here on DXY. With trend, bearish momentum, we've got these high time frame POIs that have held. Right, price looks to be breaking down. Internally, we would have broken structure now. M15, this would be a structure break. So once we go down to the M15, we'll be having that lower time frame to give us our strategy to go short. So in saying that, let's go down to the M15 and see what that shows. So yeah, M15 at the moment, we're completely smashing through this 1 hour possible order block here, right, which is fine. You can see the SMC divergence. We can see where we just about stabbed through that previous daily low. Right, we've had our bullish and bearish momentum from there. We have left behind this M15 order block at the lows of Asia. Right, that Asia trend line here that it created was liquidated without the sweep, which would have been nice little sweep. We could have possibly got in a trade to go short. But anyway, SMC divergence. We're breaking structure here, right? We've broken structure already around this point. We've now taken the sell side liquidity around these lows here. Let me just remove that. So that could be a negative for a pullback. So we'll have to see how the pullback goes, of course. We'll see how this candle closes. So we've got our breaker structure from this high. This weak low is taken out. Obviously we pulled back, headed towards the highs, failed to break the high, and that weak low was taken out. So what do we have in terms of opportunity here? Well, for example, we have a couple order blocks here that we could use. This order block here now, possible shorts from this area where more bearish momentum came into the market. We might look for a continuation of this order flow back from this area to continue short from. We may get some sort of inducement here around this area for the pullback. So normal strategy, breaker structure, possible corrective pullback, POI order block to go short. Continuing from this SMC divergence, continuing from where this 1 hour order block was left. Now, obviously on the 1 hour, there may be some fair value gap above here, but it's also within that fair value gap at the same time. Now, the danger of this order block is we have this imbalance above with this possible order block here on the M15. So if you wanted to take your chance or hedge your bet, we could go up here. I see this also as valid, right? The same thing could happen. Price could just continue going through our first order block here and then go from there, right? So same breaker structure. We then have an inducement which is already present here with these highs. These highs here would serve as an inducement of buy side liquidity below our entry point using this M15 order block here. And now price could pull back up into this area and continue short. That's the two possibilities I see from there. Stop loss just above the highs to continue short from, and then the same here. Stop loss just above the highs, just continue short from. Now my opinion is, of course, this second order block here is a lot safer. You get to be above the Asia high with your stop loss as well. You mitigate the fact that there's an imbalance above this order block here. You have inducement already with these highs here, but you could also be missed if this holds. So that's the risk there. There's the other risk in that price may want to go higher. Like I said, on the 4 hour we have that possible weak internal high from where the lows, where SMC was, but you can't mitigate all the risks in trading, right? We have our breaker structure, we have our confluences, divergence, we'll have 1 hour order blocks around this area as well. I'll have to wait to see how this pulls back to see if this one even looks viable. If it comes back really aggressive, I'd probably set my order at the high there, at the safer option, and see if we get that. So that's everything for today. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.